Lagos woke, a titan stretching its limbs before the sun. The city was a chorus of chaos and ambition, the growl of generators, the frantic pulse of traffic, the smoke from roadside grills where puff-puff and spicy suya sizzled. Amid the cacophony, Tola Adeyemi, 21 and slender, walked with a quiet purpose. Her faded blue waitress uniform was a badge of her daily struggle. Her thin shoes barely protected her from the dust, yet her heart beat with the silent, fierce strength of the Yoruba woman she was. She carried a foil-covered tray, a vessel of yesterday's dreams and tomorrow's hopes. Her home was a single, cramped room in Mushin, shared with her widowed mother, Mama Sade. The ceiling wept during the rains, and the air was thick with the scent of damp earth and suppressed desires. Every morning, Tola began her pilgrimage, crossing the long, daunting expanse of the Third Mainland Bridge to the opulent world of Victoria Island. As the Lagos Lagoon glittered beneath her, she always whispered the same prayer into the wind: someday I'll cross this bridge not to serve, but to own a better reason. Her destination was the Ocean Breeze Lounge, a restaurant where the city's elite gathered, where wealth wore the finest perfume, and pride often wore the most expensive sunglasses. Her boss, Madame Ronke, was a woman carved from granite and gold, sharp-eyed, immaculately dressed, and possessing a business acumen that was the envy of many. Yet, beneath that formidable exterior, a mother's heart beat for her staff. Watching Tola meticulously arrange linen napkins one morning, Madame Ronke offered a cryptic piece of wisdom. "Tola," she said, her voice low and firm, "hard work is like palm oil. It stains everything you touch, but my dear, it is also what makes the food sweet. Don't worry about the stain, worry about the sweetness." Tola smiled shyly, taking the words not as a mere compliment, but as a genuine blessing and a secret prophecy for her life. The midday heat hung thick, but inside the Ocean Breeze Lounge, the atmosphere was cool, a symphony of clinking cutlery and muffled, expensive laughter. Waiters moved like ghosts between the polished tables. Then, a dramatic shift occurred. The heavy glass door swung open, and a hush fell over the room, profound and sudden, like a curtain dropping. In stepped Davida Gold, the city's reigning celebrity, a chart-topping singer, a social media empress, and the self-proclaimed queen of Lagos glamour. Her flowing golden wig shimmered under the chandelier light, her stilettos clicked with the arrogance of applause, and she was trailed by a posse of equally glittering, prideful friends. Davida removed her oversized sunglasses, letting her gaze sweep the room like a searchlight. When Tola, with a practiced, low Yoruba bow of respect, approached the table with the menus, Davida's perfectly glossed lips curled into a slow, deliberate smirk. She did not whisper. "Wait, this is our waitress," she demanded loudly, her voice carrying across the silent diners. She leaned in, pointing a long, manicured finger at Tola's feet. "Just look at her shoes. They are literally begging for mercy from the road." The entire entourage burst into harsh, brutal laughter. The sound did not feel like joy, it felt like broken glass ringing sharply in Tola's ears. For one agonizing, suspended moment, Tola felt the familiar sting of humiliation rise, and her eyes burned. The urge to flee, to sink through the floor, was overwhelming. But then, she heard the echo of her mother's voice in her mind, a quiet strength she had internalized from childhood. She did not run. She straightened her spine, a subtle, almost imperceptible movement that spoke volumes of internal resolve. She met the celebrity's gaze, and in a soft, steady voice that carried across the unnerved restaurant, she replied. "Ma, my shoes may indeed be old and tired," Tola said, her voice devoid of heat, "but they walk the path of honesty and hard work every single day. That, I believe, is worth more than new leather." The restaurant went utterly silent. Davida's condescending laughter was stopped mid-air. Even the flashing of camera phones seemed to pause, bowing to the power of Tola's quiet, unshakable dignity. Davida waved her hand dismissively, an arrogant gesture meant to convey boredom, but the sharp simmer of wounded pride was visible in her eyes. She had been publicly, elegantly checked by a simple waitress. Later that night, fueled by petty vengeance, she took a discreet, secret photo of Tola as the girl walked, exhausted, and posted the image across her massive social media platforms. The caption was a poison dart: "When your waitress looks hungrier than your food, #broke life, #Lagos girls." Within hours, the digital post had exploded, garnering thousands of cruel comments, waves of mockery, laughter, and vicious insults that washed over Tola's tired face. Tola returned to her small Mushin room that night, not to rest, but to face a trembling Mama Sade holding a small, glowing phone. "Tola, my child, see what they have done to you." The image of her own exhausted, working face, followed by the torrent of digital cruelty, blurred Tola's vision. Tears finally came, hot and bitter. Why would she do this, Mama? I only served her food with respect. Mama Sade pulled her close, her strength a comfort against the storm. "My child," she murmured, rocking her daughter, "those who use their platform to laugh at you today will one day be compelled to eat from your table. Do not answer their anger with your own anger. Answer only with your destiny." By the following morning, the post had become a wildfire, spreading uncontrollably across Nigeria's digital landscape. But the universe, or fate, as Tola would later call it, had been quietly watching the unfolding drama. Mr. Adewole, a renowned and respected television presenter known for his integrity, saw the image and the vicious comments. He didn't just comment, he took the viral photo and reshared it, but he gave it a new, powerful, and defining caption: "This young woman, Tola Adeyemi, deserves our profound respect, not this cruel ridicule. She represents every hardworking soul fighting for a better life in Lagos." That single, decisive act by a voice of authority became the story's pivot point. The world's collective, mocking laughter was instantly converted into a wave of protective admiration and sympathy. Within a few days, the Ocean Breeze Lounge was no longer just a place for wealthy diners, it became a destination for journalists and photographers, all seeking out the quiet, dignified waitress. The attention led to heartfelt interviews, and soon, a deluge of offers and donations began to pour in, all aimed at helping Tola pursue her deeper, hidden dream. The most profound offer came from a top-tier Lagos fashion designer, a full, all-expenses-paid scholarship to study tailoring and fashion design. Madam Ronke clapped her hands with unbridled, motherly pride. "Oh, Tola," she exclaimed, her eyes bright. "Didn't I tell you? Even a simple broom, if it works hard, can sweep its way right into a palace." Tola stepped into her new world of fabrics and sewing machines with a mixture of disbelief and reverence. She learned the alchemy of fashion, how heavy Ankara fabrics breathe, how colors could tell silent, complex stories, and how a girl's raw, simple dream could be meticulously stitched together with faith and thread. At night, after hours of learning, she would pray over her sewing machine, offering quiet thanks between exhausted yawns. Her fingers developed painful blisters, but she didn't mourn them. She saw beauty in the pain, it was tangible, beautiful proof that her transformation, her destiny, was real and fully earned. The months rolled by, marked by the wear of the machine. Her first designs began to blossom, bold, modern Ankara gowns with sharp, confident curves that blended traditional Nigerian aesthetics with high fashion sensibilities. When her mentor, amazed by her talent, asked her to finally name her burgeoning brand, Tola smiled, a smile that held both a past hurt and a present triumph. "I will call it TeeGold Designs," she declared. The irony was a sweet, profound victory. Gold, in the form of a celebrity, had once tried to shame her, and now, her gold was poised to take over the city. Lagos began to whisper her name with genuine respect. One evening, an invitation arrived that made Tola's hands tremble and her breath catch in her throat, a selection letter for the Eco Hotel Fashion Gala. Her new collection had not only been accepted but had been chosen for the coveted position of closing the show. The very hall that had once been the playground for the celebrities she served was now opening its magnificent stage for the girl who had merely cleaned the tables. It was more than a fashion show, it was the ultimate vindication of her mother's prophecy. The night of the event shimmered like a waking dream, Crystal chandeliers rain light over the dazzling spectacle of glittering gowns, the rhythmic pop of champagne corks, and the blinding flashes of corners. Backstage, amidst the frenzy of models and stylists, Tola adjusted the final, spectacular golden gown on the lead model. She closed her eyes, whispering a final, silent prayer to herself. Let this moment be the grace that heals every single insult I have ever carried. Then, the music swelled, the stage lights focused, and the velvet curtain rose, announcing the arrival of her destiny. As the models walked, a palpable gasp filled the packed, elite hall. Tola's collection, culminating in her own majestic, deep gold Ankara masterpiece, glowed beneath the spotlight. The crowd rose in a spontaneous wave of thunderous applause, many recognizing the successful designer as the unforgettable waitress from the infamous viral post. They were cheering for her victory, for her courage. And there, positioned in the absolute front row, wearing a flawless diamond-encrusted dress and an expression that was finally stripped of arrogance, sat Davida Gold. After the final curtain call, with the applause still echoing, Davida approached Tola slowly, her famous confidence visibly muted. Her pride had been swallowed, replaced by a genuine, undeniable trace of guilt. Tola, the singer said softly, her voice barely a whisper against the residual noise, I came here tonight to apologize. I used my fame to mock you, a hardworking stranger. You, my dear, used that pain to become a profound, undeniable power. I truly envy your strength. Tola looked at the woman who had hurt her, not with the fire of anger, but with the cool, serene gaze of peace. It's all right, Mo, Tola replied, with the maturity of her journey. In the end, you only helped my story travel further than I ever could have alone. Davida lowered her gaze, humbled. Would you consider designing a piece for my next major show? She asked, the question itself a profound olive branch. Tola hesitated for a moment, then a true, victorious smile spread across her face. She extended her hand to the superstar. Yes, she agreed, shaking Davida's hand firmly, but this time, let us both make sure to wear kindness and grace alongside the gown. That single, public handshake, the former celebrity shamer and the triumphant designer, became a new, powerful beginning, one that neither the fleeting cruelty of social media nor the depth of shame could ever destroy. Months later, TeeGold designs filled the pages of every major fashion magazine and dominated the talk shows. Tola's first order of business was to move Mama Sade out of Mushin and into a sun-drenched, stable new home with bright, cheerful walls and steady, warm light. She visited the Ocean Breeze Lounge again, this time, not as a worker, but as a celebrated guest. Madame Ronke rushed to her, pulling her into a tight, proud hug. From broom to butterfly, her boss chuckled, wiping a stray, happy tear. Tola's own eyes misted, her heart full. Yet, Tola's full story, it seemed, wasn't completely woven. One quiet evening, as she walked alone, packing final orders in her bustling new boutique, the bell above the door chimed softly. A man entered, tall, impeccably dressed, carrying a single, thick, brown envelope. Miss Tola Adeyemi, he asked, his voice low. She nodded cautiously. This is for you. It's from someone who knew your father very well. Before Tola could utter a single word, before she could even ask a question, the mysterious man turned and disappeared silently back into the vibrant, endless Lagos night. Her hands, the hands that had once scrubbed tables and now stitched destiny, trembled violently as she tore open the thick, sealed envelope. Inside, she found a faded, brittle letter and a worn photograph, a young, smiling Mama Sade standing proudly beside a handsome man whose face. A face Tola realized with a jolt, looked hauntingly and impossibly familiar. On the back of the photograph, written in careful, elegant ink, were the stunning, life-altering words. The truth about who you really are. Tola's breath caught, held suspended in her chest. She looked toward the boutique window, watching the glittering, enigmatic city lights of Lagos shimmer like secrets waiting, patiently, to be told. Never let shame silence your purpose. Even a small dream can grow wings if you believe. From rags to riches, because destiny doesn't need permission. What lesson did you learn from this story? Tell us in the comment section. We love reading your thoughts. Share, like and subscribe for more emotional African stories and tales at African Epic Canals. Don't miss our next folktale every week.